Welcome back. Welcome back. Sort of be interesting. Not exactly sure how to talk about it. Emotional leadership. Seems to be coming up a lot. So, been making a little observation from doing a little experiment. Now, my experiment is speaking to older women, right? And trying to find out what they have become and how men need to adapt and how sometimes it's reversed and men have become and women need to adapt, right? Now, we all hear the traditional roles of things. And yes, I think my father was right. Certain men lead in a certain way and blah, 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 right? But men do things and that changes that. So once things start changing, people adapt or you don't. Now, I thought it was just a tomboy thing when I was younger. Like, tomboys are more like men. They're around men more, so they have that understanding of why men don't show emotional intelligence or emotional leadership. I can't really explain it because when you do something and you're not taught it, it's harder to explain. But you understand it because you've done it. Now, what I realize about the world is this new generation, and I'm talking about us older people, 40, 45, a little, maybe 50, a little younger, 80s, maybe 70s to like the 90s. We're the older people now. We the OGs, we the grown-ups, and the generation before us, they grew up different. you know? Or at least they thought they did. It's basically the same shit. Just the more people join sides of things. So now it looks like things are. Oh, it's where'd these people come from? They've always been there. What are you talking about? Where'd this lifestyle come from? It's always been there. They just didn't have a lot of people, so you don't see them. So recently, I keep getting the same type of story of more stronger and masculine women due to the circumstances of their life. Some had families, some had fathers, you know, but good dads die young. So, that forces the women in the house to automatically have to take care of themselves, you know? So that changes the dynamic of that whole family. A woman can be raised to be a housewife, and then that happens, and now your next generation is going to be a little scary to rely on a man because he could be good. He could be everything you want, but if my father calls him home, those bills still need to be paid. So, good women roll their sleeves up and they go get the fucking job done. And it seems like women have adapted to this and grown accustomed. And that dynamic of woman that only, the old school way. I get a man, I'm stay home, and then everything is crazy expensive now. So if you really want a house or more things in life, usually most people are, both working. And I find a lot of women that have been married or in long relationships, they end up not being with these people because of that alpha male shit. The old school, you my woman, and all that control and shit. And that shit may have worked or it may have had its time, but it doesn't work in its time because the environment changed. You can't tell a woman all of this, I control, I run shit. She already works for herself. That's what one woman told me. She looked at a man like, yeah, whatever. And he tried to alpha, well, I'm going to take this away from you because I pay for it. But forgot that they have their own job and just went and bought it herself and said, well, now you have that for yourself and I still have my shit. And I said to myself, that's crazy because the story she's telling me, everything else seems really good. You know, Men are doing the right things but can't get that. Times are not it's not the old days, so that's going to affect the person you're with, and it means they're not going to have the outlook you may have the old traditional way, because they didn't get raised like that. So that means nothing. Or real life, like, yeah, the traditional way is good, but if daddy dies, you know and there's no structural family, somebody's got to get shit done. So this other woman I was talking to is more tomboyish, she said, and grew up with the friends and the fellas and had the brothers, the four brothers and shit. So that's usually what makes women like that, when you grow up around all, just like a man that grows up with fucking three sisters. People like, why is he soft like that? He grew up around women. What the fuck are you talking about? A scientist will tell you that. You start adapting to what you're mostly around. That's why, men always tell women, make sure your son's around some type of man, you know? Preferably the man that you respect so they can mimic that shit instead of just any dude. you know? And then he'll have emotional intelligence, not just getting toward make money and fucking tell I run shit around here. Denzel, bitch, you just live here. You know what I mean? But oh yeah, you got your own place, so fuck. Can't hold that over our head. And every time, the story always ends the same, you know? Two people that are actually having a good relationship, things are 50% good, but one person can't adapt to the fact that this is not uh what the fuck did you do? Everything that made you be with this person, now you don't like the shit. That's the strangest thing. Like the one woman, the non tomboy was talking about how they met the person in the gym, and so basically, you know how that go. Chicks are not, purposely dressing sexy, but stretchies are stretchies, and when you have two baby back ribs back there, men are gonna look. And when you meet a woman like that, though, and then you get with them, and now you're telling her you can't wear leggings and shit, you can't dress like that no more. Kind of, makes you look goofy. But women understand. Like she told me, she tried to give it up, but then they start feeling weirder inside, like they're not themselves. That's part one of killing a part of themselves for you. That's the beginning of the end, my friend. Every time you do that and you chip away who they are, yeah, they stay, but they're dying. And eventually they're not gonna want to be themselves. That's why the relationship ends or they cheat or whatever the fuck. I've seen it so many times. And I've always said to myself, due to experience, you know, actually not having knowledge or experience to not make you not this person. See, a lot of women have to understand this. This is why men that are men and grown will tell you, stop being so hard on certain men. Stop letting, why did he treat me like that? He doesn't know any better. Being a man is not something you grow up into. You train yourself to be a man. It comes with a lot of hours of training, doing things you don't want to do. That's how you become that. And it takes time. So, as I'm listening and I say, is it just me or is it that now women, because of working and, dating and relationships is more frequent, so that would mean breaking up and being hurt is more frequent, you know? Um, are women more looking for financial and, like, back in the day, stereotypical, or are women more leaning towards emotional leadership? And both different women both say, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. But they couldn't figure it out. I couldn't tell them with words, even with the word. And I said, because just like I'm having trouble explaining me understanding what it is, because I understand it's when you really care about somebody and you actually, you want to see them grow. Like in the beginning, they were free to walk around, do whatever they wanted. You didn't worry about them cheating and shit because you were comfortable. They made you feel so comfortable that you were like, yeah, then you wasn't worried about that. And then fear. Somewhere along the line, fear came into your heart for whatever reason. And that's when the shenanigans show for men or women start. It's always the fear of losing. And I tried to explain to her, like, a lot of men are fucking, we're screwed because just like women, if you don't go out in the world and see good relationships, then whatever you see, that's what you believe, you know? So if you only see cheaters and liars and, you know, you're going to think most women are that. You're going to think most men are that because you never seen loyalty. You get it? And when it comes to emotional intelligence, I hate using these big ass words because they're really just stupid ass words for caring. That's emotional intelligence to me. Caring, learning the person. You know, when you actually learn them, you understand their emotions, and you know, women understand their emotions are fucking chaotic at sometimes, and they need an anchor. They need someone to just put a stop to the shit. Be like, yo, chill the fuck out. Sit, show ass down. But you don't use those words. That's why you learn her. And you have to learn the words that mean exactly that. And then you say it to her with the words she likes. And then she sits the fuck down. You get it? She calms the fuck down when she's overreacting because her emotions. And at working that job, because, you know, she's not supposed to be working so much, some of them, it deregulates their emotions. You know? So I said, is that, you know, is that what women looking for more now that things have changed? And they agreed. And I said, yo, I guess it just takes a certain type of person, a certain type of man, you know, that probably went through things on their side of the field, you know, where they understand now, like, yeah, I gotta be strong, gotta be a strong man, but at the same time, yeah, I actually miss caring about someone. I miss remembering the birthdays. I miss my hug. I just put my arms out and she knows, yes, you're hurt, but come here. Come here. Daddy's got you. I don't even have to say anything. Daddy's got you. You know, emotional intelligence. Um, Knowing the person where, you know, you let them be themselves. I realize that's a big part of it. Because when we get with somebody, we all want them to be ours, just ours. But real love is understanding that, yeah, you're mine, but I don't own you. Because you don't own me. And when I want to do the thing that I do, unless it hurts you, why are you trying to stop me from being me? And if what I do hurts you, why did you choose me? That doesn't make any sense. I pump fear in your heart because I want to put pants on. And I was like, it's going to be a very interesting thing to see as the world goes. And changes like this, because I realized a lot of the pushing this away or whatever it is, trying to keep things the way, you know, human beings are very get comfortable and they like to keep things the way they are because, you know, you don't have to learn anything and learning is hard. So, you know, some people just, you know, get used to things. But that doesn't mean life doesn't change. And if you don't change with it sometimes, you know, you're done. There's nothing you can do when it's time because you wasn't getting ready. So for the men out there, or the women, because a lot of women don't understand, like, men understand that you want a strong man, but also not as strong, you know, yin and yang type shit. But you don't understand that to be this sometimes. We're not all out there like that. You want what. It's the same thing as how a man tells a woman to dress or blah 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 blah. Usually like, yo, this is not back in the day. And that works against you because the good men, the men that will be this, they're saying the same thing. This is not back in the day. I need you to hit on me now. Let's skip the bullshit. Like I don't already know we're vibing over here. You gotta learn how to run games, shorty. Some of y'all terrible too. Y'all think y'all slick. You know what the older chick say? She said, "When I'm at the gym, it be so funny. You know, men be thinking women get men to stare at them, and then men be all stupid, not realizing like we playing these things. Like we know, we study and watch, and then And I said, nah, you just don't get it. Like we do know these things. It's just hard sometimes for a man to act right. You know, because things changed. It changed so much that it's not always a good thing for a man to uh, acknowledge a woman while they're in the gym about how her body looks. Now you're a pervert. You're on the Epstein list. You're a creep. You know what I mean? Niggas is like, nah, I'm not beat for that. You know? Then you've been through enough women that don't have emotional intelligence and just love destroying men's confidence. You know? A lot of men are changing, but a lot of women don't realize it. I don't think women see that there are a lot more men that they like mentally. You know? But because that's what y'all screaming. Y'all like, why ain't you emotion? We're not mental. Well, you know who used to be a little bit like that back in the day? Grandpa and them. You ain't understand everything due to a lack of education, but they understood how to, a lot of them understood how to wield both sides of the force. If I wasn't the fun guy, I'd show up to the party with you, but I'm be in the corner. When everybody starts talking like, yo, is he alright? And I'm gonna go out back and smoke a cigarette for an hour. I'm gonna go on a little walk or something. And you could tell them whatever you want to tell them. Then I come back, put on a show like I'm not. Everything's good. I was just, had a phone call and blah blah blah. Something, emotional intelligence. If you don't do that type of stuff, but you're a couple now. You gotta show up, dog. Gotta be moral support and shit. Even if you gotta stand there in the corner. Don't ruin the fucking party for everybody else. You know? It's amazing how many times I've heard people say, yeah, I met my husband or my boyfriend at a party, and now I don't go out anymore. He wonders why we broke up. I'm like, oh, or a woman say the same thing, like, or a man, vice versa. It goes back and forth. So many people meet people, and you're like, I love the way they are. They're so fun to be with, and then you kill that side of them, and not understand why didn't the relationship have the flair and the fire it used to have. They don't have that fire in their eyes because you put it out because now you own her, you own him. And you got scared and said, I don't want nobody else to see the fire. I don't want nobody else to have my fire. You don't own anybody. They can still give their fire away. You know? Relationships is the most craziest shit, like between men and women now. And meaning we're at the point where it's like people have cheated, so people, whatever, you're scared. So that's always a possibility. That's a reality. Then people ruin their relationships without even cheating because motherfuckers be scared people are cheating. but they're not cheating. Sound the horns. I've seen so many good relationships end because of immaturity and a lack of being able to build up their partner. You know, a lot of women, I understand it's not your job, you know, but if you marry a man and you see they're, immature on relationships or whatever, you need to like start, just like men. I don't understand how. Don't you understand the point of being with somebody is teaching them? You teach them what you like and what you do is and use help each other to grow into the relationship. You don't just be in a relationship. That's why they end. Because you're not you just stay together. You didn't weave yourselves into each other. So you actually would understand each other. And like, they're not perfect, I'm not perfect. And now I understand why they do certain things. Why I have to let them do certain things. But I won't let them do other things. And they know this, man. You know what I mean? Emotional intelligence goes in so many different ways where, like I said, it's a speaking thing. It's a you don't even have to speak thing because, sometimes women, they know they fucked up. They know there's no answer except you fucked up, or we got to go through this, or I don't know what to do yet, but we're gonna figure this out. You know, a real woman understands a man doesn't always know what to do. You know, but are you gonna stay there when it's hard till you figure it out? Loyalty. You know. I think a lot of people have loyalty. They just don't have management skills and growing with somebody emotionally. I think we all got hit with the false illusion of the TVs and stuff. And it's supposed to be exciting. When I see what I say goes. Nah, nah. You know, I don't know. Anyway, I hope this makes you think about your partner and understand a lot of the little things is the most important. You know, like all through my life, I hear people say these things on both sides, you know, and it's sad. It's really sad because now there's like so many single people, and I guess everything that happens is supposed to happen, unless it wouldn't have happened. But I think a lot of people have a chance to start forming good friendships and different type of relationships that have understanding to them. And a lot of other people are not going to understand your relationship because, they're good the old way or their way or it's working for them, you know. Yahweh is new though. You've been through things. You had to adapt to life, so it's not regular, but it is regular because now there's enough of us that been through it. All love, all praise to the Most High.